if he says do a podcast, are you just going to go out and have sex with someone else's podcast, Luke?
Okay, after James said sex with someone else's podcast, Luke, I started talking pretty much instantly, and that's how I'll line up the two audio streams. That's how the pros do it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of 6GCast, the podcast from the 6 Gamers. I am Ed, your host, and joining me this week we have James. Say hi, James.
Hello.
Chard.
Hello. I was drinking. Sorry. Hello.
That's becoming a real problem. And Luke.
Hi.
So, I thought we'd start off this episode with something that's, you know, it might lead into a smooth segue into the first thing that I wanted to discuss. Who knows? We'll just see how it pans out. Just pulling the question out of the air. Your favourite, let's go for favourite live-action movie based on a video game or video game franchise. And just for fun, we'll save James till last as well. So let's start with Luke. Luke, what would be your favourite?
Can I ask a question at this juncture? You say live-action film.
Yeah.
Does that include, say, films that you've used live-action actors for mocap, but they're computer-generated?
Great question. Also, is mocap a Digimon?
Yes.
Are you going to recommend Digimon, the live-action movie?
I'd watch the fuck out of that. I want the Tetris movie to be live-action.
That is a real thing, right?
Yeah, it's a trilogy. It's a Tetris trilogy.
So, Luke, what's your favourite movie?
I think I'd have to pick Tetris, the live-action movie.
Let's go for Chard's choice. This is going to get so heavily cut. God damn it.
Wow.
I wonder what James's answer to this would be, and I wonder it will be some sort of segue. Ed tried to engineer.
It could only be the Doom movie, guys.
How did I forget the Doom movie? Oh my god!
Cinematic glory.
The first person section.
With Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That is
showing
such
us
a good
all
film.
What an Oscar is worth.
So your segue is to Doom, right, Ed?
Yeah, so yeah.
Let's talk about Doom.
Who's been
Doom's
playing
great.
Doom?
Is that on Netflix? I'm watching the fuck out of that tonight. Straight after the Digimon live action movie. The gritty reboot.
So in all seriousness, Ed has expected me to say the Warcraft movie.
Oh,
and it is probably the best live action video game movie I've seen. It is certainly now the highest grossing video game movie of all time, doing most of its profit within China, where it beat The Force Awakens in its opening week. Just its opening week, it beat The Force Awakens' whole run in China.
Whoa, wasn't that just due to all the gold sellers saying, I'll go and see the movie for you if you pay me?
Just tell me how it is. Yeah, okay.
That record is not going to stand for long when the Tetris movie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to
be a trilogy.
In fairness, yeah, it's 1 against 3, Luke.
Yeah.
So, and when they package it, they're just gonna.
I've heard with the Tetris movie, they also really force as many people into the cinema as possible in really unfair, cramped viewing conditions.
You always have an empty seat on your row, though, because otherwise everyone just gets up and leaves.
As soon as everyone's in, the whole theatre just clears out. They start putting new ones in.
Doom is on Netflix. It has a rating of 1.5 stars.
So I'm going for Amazon Prime.
It's sold.
Okay, well, should we just stop the podcast here? I think we all know what we want to go and do.
I think a lot of people have already just turned off the podcast and are now watching Doom, Ed.
It's all right. I think I'll have to cut that bit. I want
to find a shitty review of it.
We need to keep our captive audience. We don't want to go and let them know that better things are out there.
All right, so do you guys want to hear about the Warcraft movie at all?
Yeah.
No. Let's
see if you could manage to get like 5 seconds into describing it before we interrupt you with some pointless shit.
I'd like to just read this one review for Doom. It's a 1 out of 5 review.
Sorry, he didn't even get like
didn't
one
even speak.
word being interrupted.
But the
No,
review
I think
says,
you'll find, Luke, I said I introduced the subject of a possible Warcraft movie conversation.
the review says mindless, pointless violence with no redeeming features, just like the game, as advertised. So no surprises here. 1 star.
What?
It should be 5. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes absolutely no. I'm going to report that as inappropriate.
Yeah.
I found this review inappropriate. It contains objectionable It contains spoilers. This is not a review. Submit. Fuck you.
So, James, we'll start the episode here. Note to self when cutting later. Cut all of that shit and straight into. So, James, what did you think of the Warcraft movie?
I thought it was pretty decent.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Next topic.
I'll actually elaborate on that a little bit, and I will be talking spoilers because obviously 6Gamers channel, if you don't watch the 6Gamers channel and you've found us on iTunes, we're on YouTube as well, 6Gamers, covering Warcraft lore and stuff, so go watch it. Anyway,
If they're still here, I'm very surprised.
You should cut the bit about spoilers, Ed. Leave the
Yeah,
rest
I'll
in.
make sure I cut that. Nice one.
So when Warcraft was announced or when it was coming up, I thought it would go like one of two ways with the critics. It would either be like so good that the critics would go, oh my god, it's a great movie and finally the video game movie curse is broken, or it would be an average movie and the critics would shit all over it. It's the latter. It's an average movie, however, as a Warcraft fan, it elevates it to being slightly above average. But if you go into it expecting anything, well, it's probably out of cinemas by now, but if you go into it expecting the best thing ever, you're going to be sorely disappointed. I'd probably describe it as kind of like a fireworks show of movies. You like to go to a fireworks show. They're still really nice, but you're not exactly going to go back enlightened or anything like that. It's a beautiful display upon the screen that you're not when you get back home, it's not going to really stick with you that much.
Yeah, I did come out of the Warcraft movie severely burnt and scared of my pets. So
Scared of your pets?
yeah, I meant to say my pets were scared, but I fucked that up.
That's
so we'll
the
keep that in.
cautionary message of fireworks shows is fear the dogs.
Yeah, all they were doing was exploding in the form of animals growling.
That's just animals showing off their arsenal of weaponry by choosing to explode it over our cities.
Depending on who they hire for the catering, I would fear the dogs.
Dwayne
but,
the Rock Johnson. He's on
I'm
catering.
going to see if the Tekken movie's on Netflix. Hang on.
It's on Amazon Prime. Fun fact.
I'm off. See you later.
When the movie came out, I noticed a lot of sort of like reviewers and things like that saying, "Oh yes, it faithfully recreates Warcraft lore." Bullshit, it does. It doesn't faithfully recreate the lore at all. It's its own different entity in many, many different ways.
It's got orcs in it though, hasn't it?
Yeah, it does have orcs
And
and
humans.
It does have humans, and they do war and they do craft.
Well, pretty close.
That scene where they punch trees to get wood.
Is there a dance studio involved?
Just imagine an orc hitting a tree and getting an erection.
Is that when the romantic scene towards the end of the movie?
Pounding a tree, going.
Does anyone at any point say Zug Zug?
No one says Zug Zug, I don't think.
Yeah.
What?
No,
Zug Zug.
Did they say she sounded like a Murloc?
She sounded like a Murloc.
Oh, what?
Are there any Murlocs?
Are there any good Easter egg references to the games?
There are several Easter egg references if you have some knowledge of the game. There's a summoning stone in one of the scenes as they're walking through the woods.
Yeah.
You see a summoning stone. There is a Murloc in a lake as they cross over, and it just goes.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it was just drowned, just lying face down.
Heavy. There is also two particular orcs that you would really recognise if you are familiar with the game. So you have Gromash Hellscream, frequently depicted throughout the film, and you also have Kargath Bladefist as well in the film.
Frequently depicted? What, like they come by, they're like, hey, what's that you're drawing? Oh, just some lore character. Anyway, about that sexy tree, let's go and punch it.
Is there a restaurant called Garrosh's?
Yo, Three Musketeers reference. Have they done that?
No
Stags?
Yeah, no stags.
Did they mention you at all? Did you get any credit?
You know what? Ed? No, they didn't.
Fucking
I
hell.
mean, the film grossed more than we've had views, but they should have at least mentioned me once.
Yeah. Well, that's.
Ungrateful, really.
I think we should stop giving it publicity, really.
Yeah, anyway, next subject. What was it?
Cool.
Yeah.
Doom.
I'd be interested in you and Susie debating the Warcraft movie next time because I know that she's watched it as well. So I'm kind of not too worried about us shitting all over this section. If we have sort of James's initial opinion. Has anyone else actually watched it?
Nope.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, good. Well, that
Literally,
was.
I'll wait for it to come on Netflix. I have literally no interest in watching it.
Same here.
Do you know what I have seen though?
I'll wait for it to come on Netflix. I have literally no interest in watching it. You
Yeah,
know,
but-
Chard,
I mean,
you would
in a
just not
cinema.
watch it if you had no interest in watching it. I don't care about this.
But Chard
but
plays
I
a game where he
will
watches
do it.
absolutely everything off of Netflix and sits on his own drinking. It's a
That's
game. It's a party, guys.
Next question: Are there any good drinking games? I'm going to look up Warcraft movie drinking games. Bear with me, guys. I'll see if it's on Netflix.
Are we going to have to take you to the hospital again next weekend, Chard?
Shut up.
No, let's hear some more about the film because I'd like to have like sort of maybe 10 consecutive seconds of content.
So,
There's a. Sorry,
God's sake!
fuck me. Please.
I wasn't listening to a single thing you
Sorry,
said.
I was hitting a tree. I just got in the mood. My desk's made of wood.
So I googled Warcraft movie drinking game, and there's a Reddit topic on the World of
That make me
Warcraft
a
Reddit,
necrophiliac.
and the highest rated thing is whenever there is a WoW reference.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Wow, yeah, good Warcraft movie drinking game there.
Wow.
Orcs, quick drink. Better drink there.
One of the responses is, "Where do you live?" That's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Was it from you a couple of minutes ago?
That's a
I
good
think
one.
you should drink every time this podcast gets derailed.
Shit. Hey, that's
Can you
quite.
imagine how this podcast would end up if we actually did that?
If anyone would like to watch along this podcast as a drinking game, obviously maturely and responsibly, and then send us a video of yourself doing it, that would be great.
Yeah. Anytime
Punching
James
trees all day over it.
Just beating that wood.
I think the drinking game should be any time Ed tries to get things back on topic.
Yeah.
Have to drink.
Yeah.
You don't want to kill them.
So, James, any more opinions on the Warcraft movie?
When it came out, there are a lot of people saying that it's quite faithful to the lore. I'll go back so that I can finish a point.
Okay.
All right, Chard? It was quite faithful to the lore. It's not faithful to the lore. It is utter bollocks. And loads of people just going, oh, yeah, it's got a bit of a first game and some of the second. It's got none of the second game in it. None of the second game at all. So I don't know what people... how... Obviously, they're not familiar with the lore, but when people speak like they're familiar with something, it's really, really fucking annoying for someone who is familiar with it, but whatever.
Yeah, tell me about it. The bit that really annoyed me was that moment where the orcs invade the city of Yolgash Tarir, which of course
that was it,
is similar to Chapter 3 of Tides of Darkness when the Naga fight the High Elves to enter the Emerald Dream and free Yogg-Saron.
Oh, is that big like tree punching scene?
That's when every scene's a tree punching scene, Luke, because every single time there's a sword fight, he's like, oh, let me just ready my weapon. Son song. And then just fights him off with his penis every single time. In case you didn't get where that was going.
I think you may have seen the wrong Warcraft movie.
Oh.
For those playing at home, how long was that before I was interrupted? There weren't any
Actually-
ogres in the film, actually, which I was quite surprised about.
Yeah.
You would at least have ogres at this point in Warcraft lore. Also, no Cho'Gall as well. I think it's mainly because Cho'Gall's role is actually swapped for Blackhand in this particular film, because one of the big key changes on the Orcus side is that Gul'dan is the war chief of the Horde.
Oh.
Well, basically war chief. Not in title, he still calls Blackhand war chief, But
What?
Gul'dan is the leader, and he's overtly the leader of the Horde. In the game lore, he sort of works from the shadows because he basically has very little charisma for an orc, because orcs thrive on sort of honor and strength, and Gul'dan's a withered, premature, grey.
Like if Susie was here, she would say just like Michael Gove. I feel like I need to make political jokes on her behalf.
Nice, thanks, Luke.
I'd sort of bring it up a touch.
Yeah.
I don't know who Cho'Gall is.
I don't
How
know
could
who-
I find out about him?
Fucking hell, Chance.
Who's this Michael Gove? Is he Horde or Alliance?
Well, you can follow the Gove lore of the cards on
Oh,
6
cool.
Gamers.
Great,
Oh,
cool.
Can you do that next?
It's his
like,
battle cry that
but-
when you get him onto the board, he immediately goes back into your hand.
He goes back into your hand and does 5 damage to you.
Satire. Hearthstone satire. That's right, you heard it here first. Are we going to make a vain attempt to talk about this anymore? I think it's difficult when you're the only one
I
that's seen
have
it
tried.
and we're not helping matters
I think we've made
at
a
all.
valiant attempt to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
It was a good effort.
yeah.
A good effort to derail it as much as we possibly can.
We have thoroughly covered the tree punching scenes.
We're thinking about the people playing the drinking game, and they're going to be lapping this up. They're going to be lapping something up.
Their own vomit at this point.
I think it's an average movie that's elevated by good special effects and also seeing some of your favourite characters on film. So if you like the Warcraft games, absolutely see it. If you like good action in movies, absolutely see it. If you can't stand kind of fantasy genres, or you really have to latch onto a plot and really good character development, don't see it. You won't get what you want.
Well, that's topic 1 done.
Well, was it done?
Excellent
Sorry, can we
job.
just go back? I'm going to try a different derailment tactic. Can we just go back to the Warcraft movie?
What the
Chard
fuck?
talked about Mancrick's wife.
What the
Like-
fuck? What are you doing? All right, yeah, right, whatever.
No, Mancrick's wife is not in the movie.
Or could you just not find her?
I possibly couldn't find her. She may have been one of the random female orc soldiers, which there are quite a few of in the movie, actually.
There's Gammon in it.
Gammon, again, orcs haven't talked to Tauren at this point.
Baby Gammon. Gammon's father?
What? Gammon's father would have been the most irresponsible farmer.
letting all these people come and punch his trees.
Let's talk about games that we've been playing.
Hell, I don't envy you, Ed.
So, I'll start this. I've been playing 2 games. I've been playing Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Yes, that's based off of the live-action movie Digimon. And I've also been playing Odin Sphere.
How do you spell that?
I don't know. I've mostly been playing Digimon, and I've played about 12 hours of that now, having got it just over a week ago. And I'd never played a Digimon game before. So Digimon Stories Cyber Sleuth is really cool because it's basically Pokemon. I'm sorry to fans of Digimon here, but it's basically Pokemon. But like things level up all the fucking time. Like everything you do, something will level up, and then they digivolve, and then they undigivolve. And
So
you put
punch
them
a
on
tree.
You put them on a farm, and they just wander around doing stuff for you. It's really cool because the setting, but basically the cool thing about it is that all of the dialogue, it's like the bit in a movie where, you know, like in Die Hard where they're trying to get into the safe and there's that one bit where they turn to like the nerdy guy and be like, how's it going? And he gets like 10 seconds of the film to just go, oh, well, they've got really tight firewalls and I need to break the 3rd level of encryption. I'm going to try and use a 64 character hex cipher. And basically the whole game.
Whacks the keyboard with all of his
Yes,
fingers.
just smacks in the basically every character in Digimon is constantly talking like that guy, getting to deliver his 10 seconds of hacker speak in a movie, but that's just the whole game, and it's really enjoyable. And Yeah, you're a cyber sleuth, which means that for some reason you just don't go to school anymore. You meet this strange woman, and then she hires you as her apprentice cyber sleuth, which just means you go off and do quests for people, basically.
The lesson of that is don't talk to strange women.
Yeah, but you get paid for it, so you know.
Talk to strange women, get paid for it.
Yeah, I mean
That's not a lesson you teach kids.
I don't know. It depends. If you want them to make their way in life, get some money, and raise Digimon.
Yeah, I bet Gammon would have talked to strange women and got paid for it.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah,
true.
He invented pet battling actually in World of Warcraft. Gammon did.
No, die.
So yeah, that game's really good. I've mostly been playing that. I'm going to play it a lot more. I played a little bit of Odin Sphere just so that I wouldn't only have looked at the box of it before I attempted to express an opinion of it. It's an HD remake of a PS2 game, which I've not played, the original. It's really good, apparently. This is just basically it, but HD, and then there are some changes, like the combat system has changed a bit, the leveling system has changed a bit, but not knowing the original, I don't know. My favourite thing, and I've already told James about this, but Luke and Chard will get to hear this for the first time. My favourite thing is the way that you gain experience points. So try to listen to this whole thing without interrupting. And drinking game, at the point where you think it's probably ended, the explanation of how to level up, start drinking. And then keep drinking until the explanation has actually ended. So
I go open a bottle.
You kill enemies, and they release these sort of purple soul things that float around you. And you either collect them up by walking into them, or you hold down the right shoulder button. I'm playing this on Vita, and you absorb those spirits into your magical weapon. This is just as the first character.
That's me. I'm starting drinking now. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Begin your drinking, Luke. It's not done yet.
That's the Onimusha leveling up system covered there.
That would be too simple. Next, you need to defeat a particularly strong enemy, or sometimes they'll just randomly drop off normal enemies, and you get a seed, which goes into the seeds part of your inventory.
So hang on, you've killed a small enemy, and you have. I know you've told me a little bit of this before, but I'm actually listening now. So you've already killed your enemies, but from then you've not actually gained any experience points, and you've not moved towards your level up, basically.
No, not gained any
okay, I'm out of drink.
So now you've got some souls or whatever they're called, and you've got a seed. Next, you open up your inventory, select the seed, and plant it. It goes into the ground. Then you hold down, I think it's square and R, and you release some souls out of your weapon, which get absorbed by the seed in the ground. Then the seed grows into a plant. Then the plant sprouts some berries. You attack the plant to knock the berries off of the plant. You pick up the berries, they go into your inventory. Then you open your inventory, eat the berries, and that's when you gain experience points.
Can you imagine the dude elevator pitching that to like the people that came up with that idea?
I love that they're just like, well, I wasn't really listening. Yeah, go with that.
Or maybe it was just one of those kind of meetings where they're like, right, we're going to make Odin Sphere the biggest RPG of all time. How about to level up? You absorb souls. Bigger! And then you kill a bigger enemy and it drops a seed. No! Bigger! And you can plant that seed and feed it with the souls. And bigger! And then by the end of it, you got Odin Sphere.
So Atlas were just developing a game in an improv comedy troupe.
Yeah.
It does. That one bit of it is a bit silly. But the
So
game
every
is
time
very
James was
cool.
shouting bigger, I just imagine a director stood in the corner of the room punching a tree and saying every time.
Yeah.
And they thought he was talking about the level up system, but actually he was just trying to punch a tree and have sex with an orc. So the game is really good. It's if you liked, is it Onimusha? If you liked that, you'll probably like this. If you liked Dragon's Crown but hoped it was a bit better, you'll probably like this.
Okay, so is it an action-based combat system?
Action-based combat system. You choose to unlock or level up different abilities. You get like magic things as well. There are 5 different characters, so as you play, you start off with just one character, and then I've just come across my second character who now unlocks, and I can choose to play her story. And you play through them all, and they all kind of interweave with each other and tell an overall story.
Cool.
So yeah, it's basically action combat, big, massive boss fights, really beautiful graphics, beautiful animation. You got some spells, you've got items, you've got crafting. You can probably make like recipes like you did in Onimusha and that sort of thing. It's really, really good. I definitely recommend it, especially given that if you're looking for games to play on your Vita, your selection is becoming a bit limited. I definitely pick this one up. It's really good.
Is it just Vita, or is it also sort of cross-buy on PS4?
It's also available. I don't know if it's cross-buy, but it's also available on PS4 and PS3.
Okay. Bit random.
And PS2 as well.
Well, yeah. If you want, there are differences.
Everyone.
The aficionados that I have read opinions of on forums, and obviously some will violently disagree with this, think that it is a good update to the original game. It's very faithful to it and adds things that are enjoyable additions, and I think it's actually also got a classic mode as well, so it's exactly the same. It's not like the story's still the same and stuff, but it's exactly the same as the original game, so all of the like leveling and combat tweaks removed, and you can just play like an HD remaster if you love the original game and that's what you want, which is really cool. So maybe Square Enix should do that with the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah, that'd be a really good idea. I don't think they will.
Nah.
Maybe they're listening.
I heard they're going to turn it.
Hopefully there's someone in their meeting when they went, all right, we've done all of this with Final Fantasy VII. Well, you have convinced me to at least look into Odin Sphere. I have got volume on my PS Vita that I still need to play, but Odin Sphere definitely sounds pretty awesome.
What are you playing at the moment, James?
I've obviously been playing more Overwatch, but we've made our opinions clear on that.
Yeah, we've probably made it quite clear that we like that game.
I've played my first ranked game on Heroes of the Storm, and I won. So I won my first placement match.
Pics of that, or it didn't happen.
What?
We need to see a screenshot.
Yeah. Oh, actually, it will have saved the replay, so I can put that up on the channel of me being an expert Muradin tank. Cool. Except I do make a mistake that gets half my team killed. But I've played some Heroes of the Storm recently. I still think it's a really good MOBA, and I would like people to play with me. And I want to play rank. I want to get good at Heroes of the Storm, but everyone's stop playing MOBAs entirely now because League of Legends got more shit. But Gul'dan is coming to Heroes of the Storm, so I'm excited about having just his character in Heroes. He's got quite interesting mechanics.
He's the war chief of the Horde, isn't he?
He is, according to these.
Gammon.
I heard he's also running for
Baby Gammon, war chief of the Horde. Sorry, the Warcraft movie shit. It should have had Baby Gammon as war chief of the Horde.
Can you just start the second bit of that and have him saying the first part?
We'll just make that the whole episode. James, what did you think of the Warcraft movie? The Warcraft movie shit.
He's had his hero spotlight released, so I know his moveset.
Yeah.
What's his moveset?
His moveset is... Oh, fuck. Sorry, I'm just surprised about us covering. His sort of general ability is life tap, so like Warlocks in World of Warcraft and also in Hearthstone, he taps his life to gain mana or to gain an advantage, but obviously there's a trade-off for that. His main is just kind of like a projectile, which I think, for me, Qs, that's one of the problems in Heroes Champion design. All their Qs appear to be some sort of skill shot that does some damage. That'll do. Which is a bit of a shame. His W is drain life, so you can tap your life, drain life, and he can fire off spells pretty quickly, so he can churn through his mana, and you're meant to sort of churn through the mana, take your life off, drain it back, churn through your mana, take it off. He's a high reward, high risk hero.
Okay, so he makes himself vulnerable as he attacks.
Yeah, basically. And then his final move is he kind of summons 3 pulls in a line, one by one, and they do damage over time. If the person is running away and they get hit by all 3 pulls, it stacks and does even more damage, basically. So if you can get someone to run away in a place where they are just sort of running away in the line, you can absolutely fuck them up, or you can do a ton of team damage. And then he has 2 ultimates. His ultimate, Terrify, doesn't do too much damage, but it casts fear within an area, basically, so you can utterly split their team up. And his other sort of ultimate is he has a massive long cast time, but he summons fireballs from the air, and anyone that gets hit by a fireball takes significant damage from each of them. But it is totally random in a large area.
I really need to go for a piss.
Nice.
Great. Cool.
So there you go.
Settle the drink you've been having.
Yeah, it's it's the only way I can get through listening to James.
Okay, let's go to Luke. Luke, what have you been playing?
I don't know as I'm comfortable doing this when Chard's not here to listen.
All I'm thinking of now is Charge pissing.
Yeah, just getting it out, standing over that toilet bowl.
Punching away that tree.
Yeah.
That he's grown next to the toilet.
I think we should stay quiet and wait and see if we can hear it flush.
Oh yeah, good idea. Let's listen carefully. I could just add one in post.
Oh,
it still hasn't gone. This is a tough one to flush.
What? Did he have his head down the toilet in that particular version?
He was just far away.
Now, if he'd had his head down the toilet, he would have been like,
I'm going to have to go outside to the garden. I think I heard a raccoon.
Hang on.
You guys, I'm in the garden. Oh, it's fucking raccoon. Oh, it's in my bins.
Oh, that was a Welker piss!
I genuinely have no idea what you're talking about.
Mostly about you.
Oh, I'm back, guys.
Hi, Chard. Yeah, you missed Luke's favourite game. Luke's just currently playing Toilet Simulator.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
I can't wait to listen to the podcast back. That's at least one more listen, and I get to find out what the fuck's going on.
Sweet.
What makes you think this content would be in the podcast?
If you enjoy it, Chards, like and subscribe. Let's actually talk about what game Luke has played.
Yeah, so in an effort, I wish that I was making this up, but sadly I'm not. So in an effort to become relevant in the topics that we've been talking about on the podcast, I started playing Overwatch last week.
Ah.
After which we're not talking about that anymore.
Stop
and
beating that dead horse, Luke.
Tomorrow, some of the Pokemon games are turning up.
So you're going to play Overwatch and Pokemon?
Yeah, I was inspired by the podcast. There is another thing I've been playing, which is probably worse. So,
what is going on in the background? Is someone currently staffing a bar? It's Chard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to that point. It's got to that point in my night, you know.
Carry on, Luke. I'm just going to eat these Doritos whilst you.
I say I went to the toilet.
Susie, join the call.
You got to remember, I'm not at home, so things will sound different.
Right, we've almost. Oh, yeah, I can see the light at the end of this question. Chard,
how many more subjects are we covering today?
We might skip the next one and go straight on to questions from the audience.
We're doing all of them.
No, because I need to actually edit this thing. So, right. Yeah,
I've got to edit your shitty Three Musketeers bollocks that you go on.
That is all fucking gold.
So we're on this. It's everyone who's listening to this should go and watch Three Musketeers videos at half speed because it sounds hilarious. Particularly Jabberjaw.
Jabberjaw, and the conversation about sneezing is great fun in that. Because you do sound so fucking high, it's amazing.
There you go. There's a fun game. So, Chard, other than watching our videos back at half speed, what have you been playing?
Well, as some of you will be aware, I'm not actually at home for the next 2 months. I'm working away in Cambridge. So the only game I'm playing is Street Fighter at the moment, which I'm actually playing right now, and I have been for the entire recording.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Just something to do, to be honest.
Which one?
Something interesting. Ultra Street Fighter 4.
Okay, that's why you're still playing it. Oh,
yeah, mostly because it's a fighting game I've never really gotten into, and having played it as much as I have recently, I could see why I've never gotten into it. I just thought I should give it the good old college try. I bought it in a Steam, sort of pick up a new character and have some basic idea of what to do because you know what the motions are and the inputs. It's so fucking obtuse though because I've been trying to play through all the challenges because I don't know what the fuck. What's the difference between the white arrow and the black arrow? What does that mean? Does that mean I hold it? Does that mean I flick it? And then, and I'm getting real trouble going, when you've got the delta movement you got to do, Dalsim has one like that, where you've got to hold it down for a second, and then you've got to go from So I press XA. It's like, no, that wasn't fast enough. Okay, XA. No, that was too fast. XA, not fast enough. XA, Dan blocked the first one, so it didn't count. XA. It's like, how is it difficult to do
This
that
bit's
punch and then that punch?
Could you say XA at different speeds a few more times? I could make a whole 5-minute segment out of this.
Someone says to me, do a medium punch, then a light punch. Okay, medium punch, light punch. And the fact that it's so precise is just getting on my
The fun thing is, that's all getting cut because Chard's opinion is unfortunately wrong. So,
you can place the emphasis on different stuff. So
it should also
I'm
have
going to
Gammon
edit
in
it. I'm going to cut this so that it sounds like Chard fucking loves Street Fighter 4 and everything about it.
It's so fucking perfect.
I am excited about a game. I want to briefly mention it. So I was going to ask, what one game do you most want to play next? What's next on your list?
Literally any one of the 150 games in my Steam library that I've not yet played. But
Nice, cool. Could you list them all?
Cool. Agarest Generations of War, Amnesia the Dark Descent.
I can skip you one. Do not bother with Agarest Generations of War.
Yeah. I actually started playing it for like 2 seconds.
I actually really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the combat system. And then it got to a point where a character who, she was hundreds of years old because she was an elf, but she did look like a child, ate a banana in a suggestive way. And then I thought, fuck this game, I'm getting out now.
I'm going to play Hyperdimension Neptunia.
Yeah.
Which, sorry, I only say that because there's a new version of that that's literally just spammed the front of my Steam store with its billion of bits of DLC.
Fucking hate Hyperdimension.
Go look at popular new releases right now.
I've played 3 of those games and I don't understand what there was enough in the first one that it made me think, oh no, this could be good. They could make something good of this.
And then they released the same game under a slightly different name.
No, it's got worse. It's got worse and worse. The first one was actually quite funny. It was just let down by a horribly flawed battle system and really boring gameplay. But actually, the dialogue was funny. And then the last one I played was like an action combat Dynasty Warrior style one. Sounds pretty good, right? As you take damage, your clothing flies off until you're in your underwear and, oh, fuck off, Japan! Yeah. How about you, James? What one game do you most want to play next? Luke's picked Hyperdimension Neptunia Action Unleashed.
Well, with your beautiful description of Odin Sphere, Ed, I'm going to say Warcraft Legion. Although I am now probably going to buy Odin Sphere because of what you said. Warcraft Legion is going to be, for me, sort of a make or break expansion because Warlords of Draenor, on the whole, as a person who plays WoW quite frequently, rather than just coming in and out, it was a shit expansion. Initially, great expansion. Questing and leveling was the best Warcraft's ever been, in my opinion, bar the garrison, which would later on ruin your end game and mean that you didn't socialise with your friends. I mean, how many dungeons have we run together, guys?
Not many.
I'm sensing some sort of personal thing creeping into this.
Yeah, could you keep personal stuff out of your opinions, please, James?
Yeah, just sorry, factual opinions.
No, but me and you didn't do a dungeon at all together, have we, Luke? Because you got all your gear from your garrison, and you went, "Oh, that's."
I literally
Luke new garrison
every day, and just did like 5 minutes of garrison stuff, and I was raid geared. By the time
I don't need my real friends.
Legion's come back. Illidan might be back. It's like,
yeah. But there's some stuff I've seen that actually makes me excited for this expansion. So, for example, there's a lore quest line based on Illidan where you play as Illidan. You see cutscenes actually detailing Illidan's story, why he is now classed as the betrayer and why he's actually a good guy rather than the evil guy that most people who just played World of Warcraft will assume that he is. And what I saw of that, I was like, this is really good questing and really good storytelling within WoW. I also like their idea for endgame content. Rather than sticking to a garrison, you go to your there are constant world quests going on as well, so you're out in the world, you're doing a quest, you realize one of your world quests needs the group, so you try and get a group together. That is actively sort of pushing the MMO aspect of your MMO RPG rather than everyone sticking within their garrison and not paying attention.
But group quests have existed before, in my opinion, and then was just fuck that shit.
Also, there's endgame content for a small group of friends like ours with the upcoming dungeon content as well, which has me really excited.
Yeah.
Where you do dungeons, and I don't know how you get this stone. There's something about it being a random drop, and I really hope it isn't. But you get a stone, and you can level up this stone. And the way you do that is you do dungeons, and those dungeons get progressively harder and harder, and you can tweak certain things about the dungeon to make it harder for yourself. So you could do the dungeon on a time limit. You could do the dungeon where you're constantly taking damage, so your healer has to work overtime. You can do the dungeon so that enemies on 10% health in rage.
Sorry, if we're saying you're constantly taking damage, that will make literally no difference when Susie's in the party.
I wish they'd incentivize it in the opposite direction. So putting a time limit on it just makes everyone play the game in the way that I don't like. There should be one where you have to read all of the quest text, and at the end of it, it changes every time, and you will be tested on the lore of that dungeon in order to get your loot.
Or if you try skipping through quest text, it just comes up with a message saying, "I don't believe you read that," and puts it back up on the screen.
Yeah, you need to spend time considering what the gravity, gravitas, everything, gravy. You need to consider the gravy.
Yeah. At the end, it will ask you for a short essay, which gets assessed by one of the members.
You send it into one. James, you could get that job. You will have to write a lore essay, which will be assessed by James.
Other lore YouTubers are available.
Of course.
Such as Hyru, who actually gave us a shout out, so I'll mention him as well.
So there's actually quite a lot of games coming out that I want to get, but my immediate next one is going to be Zero Time Dilemma.
Yeah, the other games in the series are now being ported to other platforms, including PC.
They're very, very, very good.
Is that
and
those
I've heard
visual novel ones?
Yeah,
it's a visual
by
novel
Chunsoft,
with...
isn't it? It's by the same guys as Danganronpa.
Yes, so it's a visual novel in which every now and then you'll do a room escape. So each branch will have some story, and then you'll have to do a room escape game. And depending on the choices that you make at various points, you get different bits of story and also potentially different room escapes. And Zero Time Dilemma is the new one in that series. I've heard it's very, very good. They've got a bit of a dark twist to them. I've deliberately, again, apparently this is now called doing a Chard, I've deliberately stopped finding out things about games that I already know I really, really want to play. So I know very little about this game, but I'm really looking forward to it because of how much I've loved the others. And yeah, generally it's some dark thing, like you've been kidnapped by a serial killer and they've set up some game that you have to compete against each other, but only one of you can escape or something. So all of the characters are incentivized.
Fucking cool-looking serial killer. He's in a plague doctor mask. He looks amazingly cool. I watched the first hour of it. It makes no sense to me, which is why I want to eventually go back and play the first few. I will say that in Danganronpa 2 has a room escape section, which I thought was the worst part of Danganronpa 2, but it probably makes more sense in a game all about it rather than
these room escapes are a lot better. They're good room escapes. They've got good logic puzzles in there. It was the first game I played in quite a while other than Fez, where at points I had to get out a pad of paper and write things down on it. Which I quite like. I haven't had that in a game in quite a while, so that was quite cool.
Poindexter.
But I liked that. The puzzles were genuinely, I was like, okay, I need to remember that thing. I'll make a little note of it. You do have a notepad in the game, but going into the menu to open a digital notepad, you could write with your finger on the Vita screen. Yeah, that's pretty boss.
What have you done, serious detective? Well, I've got this screwing with my finger.
And I drew a picture of a house with a sun. So yeah, it's one where the room escape puzzles are really fun. The story is quite dark and twisted, and you then enjoy going back to see the other branches. So I'll speak about the first one because I don't know much about this. 999 had this thing where most of the endings you would die, but you would die at a different point in the story, or you'd be killed by a different character. So you needed to try and work out how to survive for as long as possible to actually see all of the story. And it has this thing whereby you can't do the perfect playthrough first time. You need to know something from one of the other playthroughs in order to, like, someone will mention, for example, that someone will tell you the code to disarm a bomb, for example, and then if you go back to a playthrough where you actually come across that bomb, then you know it from the other timeline, so you can enter it and avoid dying at that point. So you have to do like multiple plays through different timelines to go back and use knowledge that you pick up. It's really cool.
But Ed, do you have to do that, or
You
can
don't
you
have
do,
to.
or can you do the other Chard and Google it?
Yeah. This is a mild spoiler, Ed, so if you don't want to hear this for Zero's time dilemma, don't listen. But
how mild a spoiler is it? Because I'm editing this podcast, so
it's possibly it's like something you can do within the first choice of the game.
Okay.
So basically, like, you wake up in the cell, as you mentioned, and the guy appears, and he basically says, "We're going to play a game."
Well, I was just imagining that he'd go, "Do you want to play a game?" And go, he's shivering and he's all scared and he's going, "Oh, what could this possibly be?"
Why does he sound aroused?
And he just, I'll get to that.
What could this possibly be?
He just holds out a lock. He just, like, hit my lock.
I don't know. I'm not really into that punch. Ooh, hang on. Oh, I am a bit into that. Yeah. Oh.
And then the game goes on for 5 hours.
I think we should do questions now.
Yeah. Cut to questions from the audience. What will they ask us? What will we say? Something like that, anyway. So we actually had quite a few genuine questions this time, so we're not going to have to go through finding everything with a question mark on the end of it.
Poor show, people.
I've picked out some of them for us to cover. I just want to say thank you to anyone who left us a comment or a like on the last video. It's really cool Thanks
for calling me a girl, whoever that was.
Well, we'll come to that. We will come to that. So I wanted to give a special mention to JP, who asked a question which we're not going to answer because I feel like we sort of missed the bandwagon a bit. He was asking which of the E3 presentations we were most disappointed with, but I kind of feel like the E3 hype train has sailed into the sky, to just mix all of my transport metaphors. So the first question we're going to take is from Leo Murray. I'd like to apologise if I get anyone's name wrong, by the way, which I probably will, but I'll flash them up on the screen. He asks, how did you all meet and do you live together? So the obvious link is that James, Susie and I all have the same parents, and we did used to live together due to our upbringing in the same family household, but we now no longer do.
I met James because he sat next to me because I was wearing a Nightwish hoodie, and we did live together for a year at university.
Hot.
Good times.
There you go.
Yeah. I met Ed, and therefore everyone else. We worked together, and then decided to immediately start a band, join a YouTube channel, and found a games company.
Yeah.
All in the same week.
Okay, so there you go. That's how we all met. Next up, Nirmal Prabhu asks, have you guys tried out any VR games?
No.
How very, very... You should start with this one then.
Well, Luke and I played some VR games together recently, actually. On the Vive, I tried out the Lab, which is the sort of set of sample mini-games from Valve. And it was really cool. Like, some bits of it were... My favourite bit was you start playing and you see, like, the controllers there being handed to you, and you see them realistically rendered in VR, and you reach out and grab them, and what you've grabbed in the real world perfectly matches what's in VR. And there were just so many nice things. Like, you just kind of reach out and grab with your hand and you pick up a thing, and in the archery game you were holding a bow, and then your other hand just becomes an arrow, so you're sort of looking at that, and then you line it up with the string of the bow and you pull it back, and then you like release the grip on that hand and it fires it, and then you have like these sort of, it's like a stickman castle invasion thing. They're coming up to your castle and you need to keep on shooting them and like aim for headshots, and you can like set the arrows on fire. It was a really, really simple game, but just the fact that it was in VR and it had that really cool control scheme made it really fun, and there were lots of little things like that.
Like, can I just say that was totally a lie. Your favourite bit was not the archery thing. So when we first started, he spent like 15 minutes just there's this little robot dog. He spent like 15 minutes looking down at the robot dog and like giggling to himself.
I also tried to find ways of hurting it, Luke. Let's not forget that. But it turns out they didn't let you hurt the robot dog.
There are a lot
that
of home truths coming out in this podcast.
I was punching that dog for a good minute, and it was just giggling and rolling around on the floor,
Loving
enjoying
it. He was.
If I can do like a shameless plug here, we do actually have a blog on what we reality as well.
I will link that in the description. Yes, that's a good point. I loved it, but it's way too expensive for me to get a Vive and an upgrade to my graphics card. If somebody did one that was just you sit down and have a headset, but it had controllers like the Vive ones, like the controllers are the thing about the Vive that just absolutely amazed me. So if there was something that was a cheaper option, I didn't care much for the games with impressive graphics. I'd take simple graphics, lose the full room motion tracking thing, and just have teleporting to move around and controllers that give you that really cool kind of level of mapping your physical experience onto the virtual world, then I would lap that up. So if the thing is, people talk about PlayStation VR, and I'm kind of excited about that, and they always go, oh, if it had controllers like a Vive, and then someone will go, oh, but it's got the PlayStation Move controllers, and they're not.
It's not the same, is it?
Yeah, I don't think it's. I'd kind of like if that shipped with Vive-like controllers, then I'd be all over that. But I don't know whether I'm that interested.
Even
in the
then, it's not cheap, is it?
It's cheap comparatively.
Yeah, it's still a console.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
But it's weird because it makes a whole different kind of game fun. Like the games that are fun in VR, it is kind of like a separate console. It's not like a. I guess
the thing I was saying about this is it's not about game mechanics. It's about experience. So there is something innately entertaining about so Job Simulator is a game where you can be a car mechanic. It sounds ridiculous, but when you're there, there's something innately fun about just looking at the guy that's trying to pay you and then throwing a donut in his face, or like throwing stuff up in the air and catching it. And even though it's
I don't know, throwing a donut in someone's face does sound fun to me, Luke.
Or like just someone reaching out and taking the glasses off his face and putting them on yours.
As someone who on our channel has a video of car mechanic simulator, which is a good game, by the way.
When you're judging what is likely to sound interesting to people, bear in mind you're talking to Chard. Am I right in saying that I don't think James or Chard have tried any VR stuff?
Not touched it.
Not since 1996 at Sega World in London.
Yeah, that's true.
Sega World. So yeah, there's some views on VR, and I will link that blog in the description. So next up, Vlad the Impaler asks...
Hey Vlad.
Yo Vlad. Asks, I want to start reading some of the Warcraft books. What do you recommend to be the best written? I had my eye on Wolfheart or Rise of the Lich King, but the reviews say they are not that well written. So what do you recommend, James?
I recommend reevaluating your life and reading something better.
You sound different.
Why buy the books when you can just continue watching our content?
Oh, that is true. Because
it's well
come on,
written.
Vlad.
Yeah, it's very well written. I would say the best of the Warcraft authors tends to be Christy Golden. I'm really bad with pronouncing names.
Golden.
Does the O come before or after the L? That'll be key here.
Golden Gloden sounds like a wonderful breakfast cereal.
Hang on, guys. Let me just Google it.
We'll cut this in.
Yeah, it's Christy Golden.
Oh, Christy Golden. Yeah, she's much better than Christy Gloden.
Yeah, Golden is a really hard word to say.
I hate you.
Or Golden.
She's quite prolific as an author in general. I would say, though, however, she did write the Arthas book, and that one is not a great read. Just play Warcraft 3.
Is that the one where you were saying like they tried to make him seem emotional, so he cries a bit about his horse?
Oh God, yeah. They try. Basically, the awesome thing about Arthas in Warcraft 3 is he was someone who believed so vehemently in righteousness and goodness that his passion to get that just drove him to anger with him trying to save his kingdom from the undead scourge. And then that anger gets the better of him when he takes up the cursed blade Frostmourne that will eventually turn him into the horribly evil Death Knight that he becomes in service of the Lich King.
You actually sound like a Lore of the Cards episode right now.
I hate the undead so much, I'm going to become undead.
But the thing, and then they just, in the book, they just go, "Oh, Arthur's," and then his horse hurt himself. He had a little cry.
Invincible, no.
There's a bit, it's just going on about Invincible all the time, and it's just like Invincible. Well, Invincible kind of gets owned by Anastarian Sunstrider, the king of the elves, and then instead of just sort of like, you know, Arthur's not caring about his horse having its legs cut out and just butchering this elf, he has a little moment and goes, "Invincible," and then he attacks the elf. It's just like, that's not evil, and it's not sympathetic. It just makes you seem like a whiny little pussy. However, she has written some good ones. She's written Rise of the Horde, which is one of my personal favourites, and where I started with the Warcraft books, because it basically introduces the orcs and how they came to Azeroth. Which, if you are looking to start from sort of where the games kick off, it's probably the best place to start. And she also wrote Lord of the Clans, which was my also one of my first that I read, which details the story of Thrall. Richard A. Knack is not as good. He's all right. But for Day of the Dragon, for example, the amount of times Ronin gets knocked out as a plot device, it becomes
when you were doing the Ronin Lore of the Cards, and I was editing that, I was just sitting there every time Ronin gets knocked out. I'm like, this is brain damage.
He is in a really bad shape right now. I'm actually more concerned for his mental health than I am about the plight of the great fantasy world. I just go with the ones with characters you want to find out about. If you want to find out about Varian, absolutely buy Wolfheart, because no matter how it's written, you'll find out about a character that you have a connection with in some way. I personally not that big a fan of Varian, so
that's how I do the Star Wars books whenever I read them. Okay. It's like, what bit or character or thing do I want to read about? Yeah. I'll go with that. I'll start there.
What I do is I just read all of the books, but whenever it gives the name of the protagonist, I just replace that in my head with Sylvanas, and then every book is about my favourite character. So the next question is from someone that I know, and as a hilarious joke, they've asked, why is Ed's face so square?
Why is Ed's face so square?
Opinions?
On the postcard, please.
Anyone got a theory as to why my face is so square?
Do you eat a lot of square food?
Ate bread, it's quite square. Tofu, that's cut into rectangles.
You're a Minecraft character, you like punching wood.
I think we're not going to top that.
That gets me pretty excited. Yeah, my face is square to symbolise the fact that I like to punch wood, and that gets me quite excited.
I want that as my ringtone, honestly, that sentence.
Yeah. Cool.
Good.
So then there's that.
Dear God, next question.
Ninja Nathan 1234, and this is our last question. Ninja Nathan 1234 asks, are there any card games that you are or were interested in?
Top Trumps.
Snap.
It's a fun fact. I was always into Magic, and I was very much into card flourishes and poker, which is definitely not what that question was getting.
When you said Magic, I thought you meant Magic the Gathering, but you mean Magic Tricks.
Like Magic Tricks.
Yeah, Magic Tricks. I used to play Magic the Gathering, but not very well.
Yeah.
Like, if you mean TCGs, the only one I ever really played seriously a lot was the Pokemon TCG.
I didn't even play that seriously. I just remember in the playground at that particular stage of my life.
Currency.
Those dark, yeah, they were currency.
Yeah,
really
it was
big
like
currency.
It was like prison and smuggled cigarettes.
And someone
for the pictures.
And all that we would do is we'd go, oh, do you want to play Pokemon card games? Didn't bother with any of the energy. We just went, all right, whose turn is it first? Let's flip a coin. All right, I use this move.
Yeah,
it's a really easy, simple game to play. So,
but it was too complicated.
The Game Boy Color
complicated for me as a kid then.
You had little stones to count health, and ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, we just decided just to read off, I do this attack, you take this damage, I do this attack, you take this damage, I do my attack again. And with most cards, if you've got a half decent card, the other card's dead by then.
I had a Crawdon X deck that was fucking amazing.
Yeah, right.
I sold a Groudon Gold Star card on eBay for 34 quid.
Wow.
James and I played the Warcraft TCG once because we decided that we wanted to play that. But we don't really have the patience that we both bought a starter deck of the Dark Portal pack.
Yeah.
But because we'd only both got a starter pack, basically it was decided by who got the better hero in their starter deck.
Which was you.
Yep, I am the priest who could just constantly heal herself, so you couldn't kill her.
There were so many times we had a couple of games, and there were so many times like, yes, I'm gonna win, and then you just went, yes. You felt so bad about it. You could tell you just went, yeah, I'm really sorry. I've got this heal, and I've got this one, and I'm back up to full life. It's just like, for fuck's sake. Next turn, I die. Like, oh. Any additional things to say about card games, boys and boys?
I imagine Chard's not going to have much to say.
Yeah, he's busy playing Sonic the Hedgehog.
He is the card. Yeah, cut that.
Yeah, we'll definitely cut that. So we've lost Chard from the call. We're just going to go ahead and pretend that he's here for the outro, okay? Oh, guys, I'm still playing Sonic. Yeah. Oh, nice one, Chard. Why don't you pay attention on these things? Oh, I just had to edit another script to Lore of the Cards. I'm 60% of this channel, you guys. Man, it's like he's here. So, yeah, we've lost Chard off of Skype. I'll, edit out his picture at this point.
Thank you for listening to the 6GCast. You can find us on iTunes. You can also listen to this back on Soundcloud. And you can also find the video on YouTube, and you have a few visual aids going along with it there. If you could go to iTunes and vote for us, give us a review, 5-star review. That's how the podcast gets out there and people like it and all that sort of thing.
That's how it works.
Yeah, apparently. Allegedly.
Yeah, people should do that.
Yeah, so giving us really a review.
Nice.
5-star. Don't give us any shitty 4-star reviews.
I'd take anything at this point. But yeah, 5 stars would be nice. You know,
5 stars would be the best option for us.
Yeah.
You can find us on YouTube at the 6Gamers. And you can also follow us on Twitter at the 6Gamers and on Facebook /the 6Gamers UK.
And if you want to have your question answered on the podcast, ask in the comments below the YouTube video, and we'll pick a selection of those again next time to cover. Stay listening until after the music for my impression of James beating a cow to death with his penis.
Oh, yeah. And you can then cut him shouting, "That was a satisfying piss."
Yes, I can!
I really need a wee. Be right back.
We're so nearly finished.
I know, but I really need a wee.
Jesus Christ. Oh gosh, I'm just going to the toilet again. Oh, there's a cow in here. How the fuck did that get in my toilet? I need to take it down, but I'm gonna need a weapon. Oh, how convenient, there's a tree in my toilet. Oh, this is really working. Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna just beat this cow to death with my penis. I've got a lot of good content.
Oh, that was a satisfying piss.
God's sake.
Right, guys, I'm back. Back.